Hey everybody, this is Every Man's Battle, Part 8. As we continue through, the last thing we talked about in Part 7 at the end was the reality that while, like our largest clientele that Kimberly and I work with that are either stuck in sexual immorality of some kind, stuck in pornography addiction, things like that, is, the being, again, it's our first responders, people who are living high stress lifestyles. Second to that, though, ministry. And what they talked about here in this last paragraph was this pastor talking. The last part of the paragraph said, one young pastor tearfully detailed to us his ministry and his desire to serve God, expressing in a deeply moving way his devotion to his call, but his tears turned to wrenching sobs as he spoke of his bondage to pornography. His spirit was willing, but his flesh was very weak. Now, here's the thing about this. What he understood was that while he's giving a message from God, from the Word of God behind a pulpit, preaching to a congregation or anything like that, spiritually, he's dead in a sense. And it's a very difficult place to be. And I can tell you, those who are called of God to these ministries struggle a lot more than those who are not. There's some, don't get me wrong, what I mean by that is there are people out there who preach the Word of God who are not called by God. There's people out there who preach and pastor churches, large churches, small churches, that are not called of God. They do it because it's a great career choice for them. So, but people who are called of God will struggle more. And so, understand that is often the case, which is why we have to stay on our game all the time. So, the next section is called Spinning in the Cycles. What about you? Maybe it's true that when you and a woman reach a door simultaneously, you wait to let her go first, but not out of honor. You want to follow her up the stairs and look her over. Maybe you've driven your rental car to the parking lot of a local gym between appointments, watching scantily clad women bouncing in and out, fantasizing and lusting, even masturbating in the car. Maybe you can't stay away from 6th Avenue, where the prostitutes ply their trade. Not that you'd ever hire one, or maybe you don't buy Playboy back home, but when you're on a business trip, you can't help yourself. You're still teaching Sunday school, still singing in the choir, still supporting your family. You've been faithful to your wife. Well, at least you haven't had an actual physical affair. You're getting ahead, living in a nice home with nice cars and nice clothes and a nice future. People look to me as an example. You reason. I'm okay. People look to me as an example, you reason. I'm okay. So listen, it's not okay, and it's not. We got to get better, right? We got to do better. Yet privately, your conscience dims until you can't quite tell what's right or wrong anymore, watching things like Forrest Gump without even noticing the sexuality. You're choking in the sexual prison that you made, wondering where the promises of God have gone. You spin in the same sinful cycles year after year, and nagging you is the worship, the prayer times, the distance always, the distance from God. Meanwhile, your sexual sin remains so consistent that you can't set your watch, that you can set your watch by it. Rick, for instance, walks down the hall at break time just to glance through the doors of another office where a bosomy secretary answers phones and directs clients. Every day at 9:30, I wave at her and she smiles back. He says wistfully, she's beautiful in her clothes. Let's just say they really accentuate her best features. I don't know her name, but I'm actually depressed when she's absent from work. Similarly, Sid races home by 4 p.m. every summer day. That's when his neighbor Angela sunbathes right outside his window. At 4 o'clock, she lies out in a bikini, and she doesn't know that I can see her. I can gaze to my heart's content. She's so sexy. I can hardly stand it. And I masturbate every day that I see her. I know that part was uncomfortable to hear, right? The reality is, maybe not every part of each of those stories are you, but somewhere in each one of those stories is you, right? You may not be waiting to a business trip to buy a Playboy magazine, right? But at some point in time, you are finding your place, that direction where you are purchasing something like that or watching something like it, right? What we call business trip syndrome could just be sheer boredom, okay? You may not be parking outside the gym, right, for that sort of thing, but the reality is you are somehow finding a way to get what you need. Like I said, not every one of these stories is exactly your story. So, right, you may not be on a business trip, so that doesn't apply to you, but it does because it could just be you're bored at work or just out and about. So, take this test. Are these men addicted? The compelling sexual cravings are certainly strong evidence. Here's a little test that you can take. You don't need a pencil. You just need to be honest with yourself. Answer yes or no to the following questions. Do you lock on when an attractive woman comes near you? Question number 2. Do you masturbate to images of other women? Question number 3. Have you found your wife to be less sexually satisfying? Question number 4. Are you holding a grudge against your wife? A grudge that gives you a sense of entitlement? Question number 5. Do you seek out sexually arousing articles or photo spreads in newspapers or magazines? Question number 6. Do you have a private place or a secret compartment that you keep hidden from your wife? That could be mentally as well. Something up here that you keep hidden from your wife. Do you look forward to going away? Question number 7. Do you look forward to going away on a business trip? Number 8. Do you have behaviors that you can't share with your wife? That is a big one. Do you have behaviors that you can't share with your wife? Number 9. Do you frequent porn-related websites on the internet? Number 10. Do you watch R-rated movies, sexy videos, or the steamy VH1 channel for gratification? This book obviously is a little dated, right? But do you watch certain things for the purpose of any gratification like that? If you answered yes to any of those 10 questions, you're lurking at the door of sexual addiction. You're inside that door if you can answer yes to any of the following questions. Understand that if you answered any of those 10, you're lurking at the door. If you can answer any of these next following questions, you're actually inside the door. Do you watch pay-per-view sexually explicit TV channels at home or on the road? In your car even, parked in a parking lot, parked in your driveway? Do you purchase pornography on the internet? Do you rent adult movies? Do you watch nude dancing? Go to strip clubs, things like that. Do you call phone numbers or sex lines, the 900 numbers, that sort of thing, to have phone sex? Or do it through texting, through Instagram, through Snapchat, things like that. And number 6, do you practice voyeurism? If you answered yes to the last 6 questions, you could very well be sexually addicted. Understand, there's a purpose to what we're doing here. We're going through the book, Every Man's Battle. We'll probably go through some other books, but I want to help you do your best to understand exactly where you are so that you can see it for yourself and get a grip on it, okay? I know a lot of people in this position. I know people in ministry in these positions, okay? Again, my name is Billy, Unbroken Together Coaching, and I just want to help you do better. All right? The next part is coming up. Thanks.